Greenland, a land of monumental scale and silent power. Covering over 2 million square kilometers, it is a world defined by the crushing weight of ice and the resilience of those who have navigated its frozen edges for 4,000 years. The story begins nearly 4 billion years ago. The bedrock here is among the oldest on Earth, a primordial foundation that survived the birth of continents. Around 2500 BC, the first humans crossed the frozen Nares Strait. These were the Independence I people. They were masters of the high Arctic, hunting muskox in a landscape so harsh it remains largely uninhabited by modern civilizations today. To the south, the Sakak culture flourished. They were the masters of the shoreline, developing sophisticated harpoons to hunt seals and whales. Their presence lasted for over a millennium, leaving behind stone tools that still whisper secrets of their endurance. By 800 BC, the Dorset people emerged. They introduced the soapstone lamp, a vital innovation that provided light and warmth during the eternal Arctic nights. History here is often marked by disappearance. Around the 1st century AD, these early Paleo-Inuit cultures vanished from the record. For hundreds of years, the fjords of Greenland stood silent, waiting for the next wave of human curiosity to arrive. In 982 AD, the silence was broken. Erik the Red, exiled from Iceland for his violent temper, sailed west into the unknown. He discovered a land of sheltered fjords and named it Greenland, a clever piece of marketing to lure settlers. In 985, 25 ships set sail from Iceland. Only 14 arrived, but they established the first European foothold in the Western Hemisphere. The Norse were not just raiders, they were farmers. In the southern and western settlements, they built hundreds of farms. They raised cattle and sheep, creating a medieval Scandinavian society that thrived on the very edge of the known world. Faith anchored the community. By the 12th century, Greenland had its own bishop. The Norse built grand stone churches, including the cathedral at Garthar, proving that even in the Arctic, the reach of the medieval church was absolute. Trade was the lifeline. Greenlanders traded walrus ivory and narwhal horns for iron and timber, connecting the Arctic to the markets of London and Rome. While the Norse farmed, a new power was moving east. Around 1200 AD, the Thule people, ancestors of the modern Inuit, arrived. They brought the dog sled, the kayak, and a specialized hunting kit that made them the ultimate Arctic survivors. The two cultures lived in parallel. Archaeological evidence suggests a complex relationship of trade and occasional skirmishes. The Norse called them skraelings, yet they depended on each other's technologies to navigate the changing environment. But the climate was turning. The Little Ice Age brought bitter winters and advancing ice, choking the shipping lanes that linked Greenland to Europe. By the late 1400s, the Norse settlements were failing. Cut off from trade and unable to adapt their farming to the deepening cold, the last settlers disappeared, leaving behind only stone ruins and a historical mystery that endures. For 2 centuries, Greenland belonged solely to the Inuit. However, the 17th century brought European whalers, Dutch, English, and German crews who came for the oil of the bowhead whale, re-establishing contact with the outside world. In 1721, Hans Egede arrived with a mission to find the lost Norse. Instead, he founded Nuuk and began the Danish colonization of Greenland. Denmark established a strict trade monopoly. For nearly 200 years, the Royal Greenland Trading Department was the island's only link to global commerce, exchanging hunting supplies for the furs and oil that fueled the Danish economy. The late 1800s saw a new kind of conquest: scientific exploration. In 1888, Fridtjof Nansen led the first successful crossing of the inland ice sheet, proving for the first time that Greenland was a land of ice from coast to coast. Greenland became a laboratory for the world. Alfred Wegener, who theorized continental drift, spent his final days on the ice sheet conducting pioneering research that would eventually revolutionize our understanding of the Earth's geology. Greenland served as the gateway for the race to the North Pole. Explorers like Robert Peary used Greenlandic Inuit guides and their dog sledding expertise. World War II changed everything. When Denmark fell to the Nazis in 1940, the United States stepped in to protect Greenland. The island was no longer an isolated colony, it was now a vital strategic shield for the North Atlantic. The focus was the Erik mine. Greenland was the world's only source of cryolite, a mineral essential for smelting aluminum. Without Greenland's soil, the Allied air forces could not have built the planes that won the war. In 1946, President Truman offered $100 million in gold to buy Greenland. Denmark refused, but the American military presence was here to stay. As the Cold War began, Greenland became the ultimate sentinel. Thule Air Base was constructed in secret, serving as the front line of the early warning system against Soviet bombers and missiles during the 1950s. Under the ice, the Americans built Camp Century, a nuclear-powered city hidden within the glacier, designed to test the feasibility of launching missiles from the Arctic. In 1953, Greenland's colonial status ended. It became a county of Denmark, sparking a massive wave of modernization. Hospitals and schools were built, but the rapid transition forced many to abandon their traditional ways of life. The G50 modernization plan moved thousands of people from small hunting villages into modern apartment blocks in larger towns. It brought infrastructure, but it also triggered a profound crisis of cultural identity that is still felt today. It is the world's largest island, a land defined by ice, where for millennia, humanity has existed on the frozen, razor's edge of survival. The human history here runs deep. Over 4,000 years ago, Paleo-Eskimo cultures migrated across the frozen north, becoming the first to hunt these formidable shores. Then, in 982 AD, exiled Norseman Erik the Red arrived from Iceland. He found fjord systems in the south protected from the harshest weather, and famously branded this new territory Greenland. For nearly 500 years, the Norse settlements thrived. They built churches, farmed livestock, and traded precious walrus ivory with Europe, completely isolated on the edge of the known world. Around 1200 AD, a new wave of highly adapted Arctic hunters, the Thule people, ancestors of the modern Inuit, migrated east from Alaska, eventually spreading across the entire island. By the 15th century, the climate turned. The Little Ice Age brought colder temperatures and advancing sea ice. Cut off from Europe and unable to adapt, the Norse settlements vanished into history. Centuries later, in 1721, Denmark-Norway launched a recolonization effort led by missionary Hans Egede, searching for the lost Norse. Instead, they established a new colonial relationship with the Inuit population. The 20th century transformed Greenland into a strategic asset. During World War II and the Cold War, America built massive air bases here, securing the Arctic frontier against Soviet threats. Politically, Greenland has steadily moved toward independence, gaining home rule from Denmark in 1979 and expanded self-governance in 2009. It is a modern nation forging its own identity. Today, life in Greenland is a unique fusion of the ultra-modern and the deeply traditional, where digital technology coexists with ancient hunting practices. But Greenland is now ground zero for a global crisis. Its ice sheet is melting at an unprecedented rate, reshaping the island's geography and threatening coastlines worldwide. From Paleo-Eskimo pioneers to a modern, self-governing people, Greenland remains what it has always been, a beautiful, unforgiving land at the center of the world's attention. Thank you for watching. We hope you found this look into Greenland's history insightful. We'll see you in the next one.